All right, man. You guys, you're in Pennsylvania tonight. You just had a couple days
I'm
off.
in. Let's see. I'm in. Yeah, we had a couple days off. We stayed down in Miami, Florida, down for a couple days after Winter Jam ended down in Sunrise.
I don't blame you.
We're up in Reading now, my man.
Nice, man. Talk about from one end to the other. You guys spent a couple days in Florida, where it's nice. You guys are up in freezing Pennsylvania now. How cold is it there right now?
Oh man, it's freezing. We only got to really step off the bus and walk inside, so we're not. It's not like we're out here, playing baseball on the quad.
Right, right. That's good because I'm in Indianapolis. You guys will be here next month in a couple weeks, and it's about 5 degrees here, and it's freaking awful.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like, geez, well, we should just move down to Florida.
Yeah, yeah. Let's just do the whole Winter Jam down in Florida. Everybody can come there. Just hit every major city in Florida a couple times, and just do the tour down south. But
yeah, like, dude, they've toured. The Winter Jam was in Jacksonville, Florida 6 times. No one's at the show, but they are warm. They are warm.
That's right. I mean, but they don't call it Winter Jam for nothing, though. It's in the winter. It's cold. But man, it's a couple weeks in, and I've got to ask, how's Winter Jam going for you? I mean, being a comedian on Winter Jam on an arena music tour, how does that translate for you?
Man, you know what? First of all, arenas are different in terms of comedy because let's say first of all, if someone like in the first row comes out and says like "I love you" or even like says something funny or maybe tries to heckle you or something, you can't interact with them because the person up in section 300 a half a mile away hasn't heard what they said, so you can't. You kind of just got to block all those things out because you're performing for everybody. And then what's interesting about Winter Jam, especially me as a comic, they never had a comedian on before, so no one was really sure what was going to happen. But it's been very well received, and it's good for the artists because you get kind of a little bit of a break from the music. And like you get 2 or 3 music acts, and then I come on, and then people are like, "Oh, it's a little different. It's a different thing. It's a comedy. We can sit down, we can laugh. It's a different emotion." And then right after me, Carrie Joe comes back.
Nice.
People are it's even more. She's even more well received because she's coming right off. Kind of people getting a little bit of a break from the standing and the hand raising and stuff. So it's been good for me as an artist and the musicians.
Right. I was going to ask at what point in the show you come on because Nick Hall's on the tour as well, and he's the speaker. Right. He's given the message. So I mean, do you and him connect even more than you normally would because you guys are both
100%
non-music acts that are on the tour?
Yeah, Nick and I have like in my show, maybe if I was doing my own 2-hour show, I would have maybe a little bit of I'd talk seriously for a minute or maybe have some kind of spiritual levity to the show. But I'm only doing a short set, so that would be kind of inappropriate for me to do, and especially because he's already kind of covered it. You know what I'm saying? That would be like me doing Revelation song right before Carrie Joe comes on stage. She's like, that's my closer, dude. That's my song. You know what I'm saying? So my job is only the humor, and I'm the only person bringing that during the show. So it's been perfect. Yeah.
Right. I mean, I've had a chance to watch a couple of videos, and some of the ones that I've liked so far are just, oh my God, like the Christian Girl Instagram, love it. 7 times you grew up in a Christian home. I mean,
sure, yeah.
I mean, that's definitely, I grew up very strong Christian foundation at home, church all the way up through college. Went to a private Christian college for my first year, so I can relate. How much of that content of some of those skits and videos do you bring into the live show, especially on Winter Jam?
Let's see. Or let's so people like, I've been doing stand up for like almost 10 years, and my videos just kind of went viral like maybe like 2 years ago, and people recently somebody was like somebody commented, "Hey dude, you're funny, you should try stand-up comedy." I was like, what? No, that's what I do. That's what I do for a living. So there are video aspects to the show, but the stand-up, like post a stand-up comedy video on the internet, and it doesn't really,
Right.
it doesn't really share that well. But those viral videos, those are the ones that they spread like wildfire. So I wouldn't want to play a video at my live show that people have already seen. But there are not in my Winter Jam show. There's no videos playing because I'm only doing 15 minutes. But certainly come out to my show, and there's plenty of video. Yeah.
Right. I mean, because a lot, especially in those, a lot of the stuff a Winter Jam crowd could definitely relate to, especially youth groups and whatnot. So I can imagine some of those jokes translating well on this tour.
Yeah, a lot of you find the demographic of Winter Jam would be a little different than like it is a lot of families in there, and it's a lot of youth groups. So I mean, even though I'm a comedian, my goal is to kind of press the boundary and things like that. I am cognizant of that fact that there are families in there and kids in there, and nothing should cross the line that would make anyone feel uncomfortable or something.
For sure, because a lot of the comics that you do stand up with and have performed with, definitely not necessarily the Christian crowd that would come out and watch.
For sure.
Watch it. Dave Chappelle, Crist, Trevor Noah.
Yeah, those guys. It's interesting coming up in comedy is the great equalizer in terms of like sometimes you're like, are you dirty, clean? Are you black, white? Are you gay, straight? Are you whatever? Are you man or woman? Like, it honestly does not matter in that comedy green room as long as you're funny. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, there's comics like that is they're like, oh, hey, I'm like a Christian. They're like, okay, great. Well, go be funny. Or hey, I'm like a Latino comedy. Okay, great. Well, go be funny. Like all those things, your kind of personal leanings or your specific, the way you think is kind of secondary to being funny. So a lot of times people are like, what's it like doing a show with Dave Chappelle? It was like, it was great. I was funny and he was funny. And that was kind of like, no one was like, oh, wait, that guy didn't swear or that guy was clean or like that. I mean, that it's just funny. It's funny,
Exactly. Yeah, there's a couple good, Christian comics out there. Brad Stein's one. He doesn't swear at all. He's hilarious. And halfway through the show, you forget he's a Christian comedian. It's a comedian.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
And we've done like I've done cruise ships. I've done a couple cruise ships, and they always say, hey, we want an hour long clean show, and then like later in the night we want an hour long like adult show. What kind of anytime we book a cruise ship there, and I just go, okay, yeah, fine, that's good. And then I'll do I'll do a joke about when I was a kid growing up in homeschool or something like that. Maybe more of the jokes in that show are kind of tailored around that. When I grew up, when I go back for Christmas, I got to still sit at the kids' table, da 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 da. And then when you're at the adult show, there's still, it's all the same. There's no swearing. But if people were dying laughing for the whole hour, they're not coming out and going to guest services demanding a refund because the guy didn't swear. You know
exactly.
What I'm saying? They just want to laugh.
Right. And as a believer, I mean, you're told, through the scriptures as a believer to go into the world and be a light.
Right.
And so you're doing exactly what we're supposed to do by going somewhere that a lot of believers may not necessarily want to go or not be able to go.
The funny thing is about a comedy, like if you went to an open mic night in, let's say, in your local city, let's say there's 12 comedians, I bet there's 10 of them doing a joke about Jesus. I guarantee. And so, like, granted, it's not in a positive sense, but there every night there's 10 comedians talking about Jesus. So that I think Jesus and the Christian faith is more relevant today than it has been ever, and that's encouraging to me because you're like, this guy that claimed to walk the earth 2,000 years ago, people still can't get that out of their head. They're like, I don't think it's real, but there might be something to it. And that's all comedy is. And so that's 100% encouraging to me.
And one thing I wanted to talk to you about specifically is with you playing a lot of non-Christian crowds, Skillet being on Winter Jam, them playing a lot of non-Christian crowds, there may be a lot of maybe non-believers or atheists coming to Winter Jam because they saw you or they saw Skillet on other shows and they're fans. So it gives everybody on the tour a chance to evangelize and really reach a whole nother crowd. Is that something that you guys think about and talk about being on Winter Jam?
100%. Yeah, no, we kind of like it's funny because if you go to like my crowd at my show, these are my fans that are bought into what I'm doing and already like on board from the minute I walk out on stage. This crowd would not, maybe they're unfamiliar with me or maybe don't like my comedy or like they never heard of me before. So this is a good opportunity for you guys. You can convert all those people to your fans at the end of the night, which is a huge opportunity.
Definitely. Because, I mean, that's one thing I love about Winter Jams. There's something for everybody. And even if you don't like hip-hop, you don't like rock, you don't like CCM, for some reason don't like comedy, there's something on this show for you. And you're going to come away impressed by somebody that you didn't expect to be impressed by when you leave the show.
That's a new, that's a new, I like that. I didn't know that's 100%. You can walk away being like, I didn't know KB, but now I'm a fan.
Yeah, or, I never gave them a chance, but wow, those guys were good. And for only $15, I mean, it's definitely worth it.
So you have to wait out in the cold for a little bit for a good seat, but you can't beat that.
Yeah, definitely worth it. But I mean, being on Winter Jam and going on a little bit earlier in the night, you have a chance to really sit back, relax, and just watch the rest of the show. Who are some of the artists or bands on the tour that have really impressed you that maybe you wouldn't have expected to?
Man, I Jordan Feliz is like he's for sure converted me. I wasn't that familiar with their music. I heard them spinning on the radio a little bit, and I had recognized their like hit songs, but those guys rocked that stage, man. And those guys, I spent some time with them. We're on the same bus together actually. So those guys are now become like some of my best friends. Jordan Feliz is great, and then obviously Carrie Job's Closer is just incredible. I'm in the green room like every night, and then when I hear them start to go to close, I come out and watch it and worship right along everybody else. And of course, like Skillet, they're a headliner for the reason. And then Building 429, Jason and those guys are become good friends of mine too.
Awesome.